their whole life, so let them have a little bit of simcha. In fact, someone sponsored my soulmate to go to a place tonight and tomorrow to be able to just get some energy back. She said though it's hard. I said, what's hard? I want to go. I want to sit in the jacuzzi tonight and all the other things it offers. She said, no, it's hard because I have to organize everything before and after,
like
so that I can be away, have this time away,
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know, it would be pretty cool, but I can't relate because she does so much. Anyway, Best Hashem, she will give her the chizuk she needs and deserves. She's worked
that's
hard.
very nice.
She's been doing Mada. She's been
doing what?
Magen David Adam this whole week, and we do our podcast on Chesed, and we're talking about urgency of kindness today. We're going to talk about the importance. Chabad, you feel that they're just in a state all the time of doing. And but you see the makor is what we're learning now, is the makor comes from Chabad, from learning, from Chochmah Bina Das. It's not just a name that they have, as Trump would call it, Chabad. Yeah, it's not just a name. It's a lifestyle. It's a reality. It affects everything you're doing once you have this panemius connection of learning and understanding that the anatomy of the soul. So we're going to see the note now, and then maybe we'll go back a little bit just to understand what it's referring to. This is the note. Im hayas besocho esasviris das asara kedosha. I mean, it's all a bit deleted in the older edition.
Oh yeah,
you can hardly read it.
Here.
Yeah. So I'm going to read it here.
Dasia,
sorry. Im hayas besocho esasviris dasia to kedosha. So we know there's an olam of asiya. And it's brought down in Eitz Chaim. These are the Sfarim of the Arizal and the Rav Chaim of Volozhin. Portal 43. I don't know why it calls it portal, but whatever, gate. The idea that there's Olam Asiyah. Olam Asiyah is the lower world, the world of action. It's the hay of the Shem Havaya.
Right.
It's this, but there's 10 spheres in that world. Remember, in every world there's 10 spheres, and within each sphere there's 10 spheres.
Even though the world is predominantly from Klipot and such, our holiness is still contained in it.
Besoch esespheres dasia elu hen esespheres da yitzira. Besoch esespheres da bria. Besochen esespheres da tzilas. Besochen or Ein Sof Baruch Hu. Okay, so let's go on a little panemius journey. We have to use our, thank God we've had a few imaginative movies that probably help us get this, like Matrix.
Yeah.
But this idea within the code is another code, within that code is a deeper code, within that code is a deeper code till you get to the panemius, the real core. Right. It's not some stupid machshev, It's not a computer. It's a Hashem Yisparach. So you go deeper and deeper through the Olam Asiyah, and then within the Olam Asiyah of the 10 spheres of Olam Asiyah is the Olam Yetzirah. And within the Olam Atzirah is 10 spheres, which within those 10 spheres is the Olam Habriya, and within the Olam Habriya is the Olam Atzilas, and within the Olam Atzilas is Ein Sof Baruch Hu. And you're getting deeper and deeper, more panemius, and to higher worlds, they're also higher up. But remember, it's not higher up like we think externally, like going up a ladder or something. It's more and more.
It's like shells.
Yeah, more and more Gilui of Hashem, and less Simsumim. Do you understand what? As you go higher up, kiviyachol, like as if we can say it that way, as you go more into the panemius worlds, the olamas, the more the gili of Hashem is there, and the less of the simsumim, and the less therefore of anything that would take you away from Hashem.
Asiyah is the lowest one, right?
Asiyah is the most physicalized. Now you have to understand. We're going to see this throughout Tanya. This is really, really important. You saw this. That the olam atzilas, even though it's as
Atzilas is the
highest, before Ein Sof. Now, to us, it seems like this, we can't even mastic, we can't even understand this, the highest of worlds, in terms of the four worlds that we're relating to. We can't understand how ruchnius and spiritual is. Etzel means like it's next to Hashem. It's so ruchnius, so panemius, so free of what we would call constrictions and limitations. It's such a spiritual place, and it's the letter Yud from the Shem Havaya. It's a very panemius place of the least amount of whatever that Yud is, that least amount of ink, the least amount of any kind of yeshus or thinking of bria of creation. It's the least of it.
It's just pure light,
pure awe, because to us, to Hashem, it's the most physical thing. It's the most like Rob. It's like physical. it's because you have to understand, according to Hashem, that all the alamas, like, and even the highest to Hashem is all creation, is all physical. Yeah, so it's not physical at all. But I'm just saying in reference, if we switch it around and look at it from Hashem's viewpoint, not that we can do that, but just to understand it on a pneumis level, that it's all creation according to Hashem. Whereas to us, it seems like the most spiritual, and we can't even get there. Like, we're going to see there's only certain neshamas who even go anywhere near there.
Right. It's like lahavdil. You think about
in terms of their shorish.
Lahavdil elef havdalos.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, I don't know if you've ever used a power tool, like a drill.
Yeah.
So you have the drill.
There's all different ends.
And then you have to attach the end to the drill.
Right.
But then sometimes you have to attach an end, and then to that you have to attach almost like a middle piece, like a bracket.
Yeah.
That you attach to the drill, and then you attach the bit to that piece as well.
So the only way I'd let you get away with that, Marshall, sorry, I mean, I appreciate it, but it is when you're talking about Olam Asiyah. I wouldn't be able to take that further. Because you have to understand, like, even between Olam Asiyah and Olam Yitzirah, one thing, I don't know this, like, in depth. Like, I'm not, like, holding on these levels of Olamas. Like, I'm not walking around. I'm not taking a Tiyulim in Pardes and walking on these higher worlds.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, from what I've understood from Tanya, I'm quoting the Tanya, and its moshul is it gives an example of someone's mind to the hand. And the hand,
someone's what?
I think in Shaykhul Amunah talks about it, the mind to the hand.
Okay,
so the hand can't do maths.
Better.
Can't do arithmetic, yeah? But the brain can.
Right.
But the hand is the one that's going to take the drill and drill the hole in Olam Asiyah.
Tanya brings it down earlier.
Yeah, maybe Tanya brings it as well.
Yeah.
But the concept that it's so far removed, the hand from, or the foot, the foot, so far removed from the abilities of the brain. But the brain also is not the one to do that action. That's why we need the hand. Yeah?
Right. Because there's something behind the brain itself. The brain is just...
And then even then, within each world, there's a whole Adam Kodman, there's a whole Essesuras, there's a whole Panemius of Hashem. Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to understand now. So we have here...
In every world. So even in this physical world, where we were saying called a guy Kevin Klipot yesterday. It's quite a good name, actually. So we have that guy. He still made a Salam Elokim. He's still, as much as he's distanced from Hashem, he's still made in the image of God. And he still has within him, like in an external sense, the image of the Essesuras in terms of the fact that he has 10 fingers, 10 toes. He's part of creation. He has the makeup, the godly makeup that he put into every human being. So every human being has that potential to become godly. The problem is, like, he's gone all the way down into using it for, as we were saying before, Nefesh Bahamas, and Halavai Nefesh Bahamas, probably more like the Klipos Tameis and other stuff, yeah?
Especially Kevin Klipot.
Yeah, that dude. So
he's the richest.
Yeah, I mean, that was a guy called Kevin who used to, like, try and mug us all the time in London, like, rob from us.
Yeah,
He'd
Kevin?
be like, hey man, borrow me a pound. Yeah, come up to us.
Oh, yeah?
So I was with one of my friends one time, and he said, no man, you borrow me a pound, yeah? And the guy was like, what? And they were so confused by that some Jew boy would answer them back that they just walked off. They were like, and they were properly confused. Huh. And I was like, respect, man. Give like a high five to my friend. It's like, that's the way to deal with these dudes. Yeah. I mean, we're lucky to just put out a knife.
My grandfather's older brother, these like Holocaust survivors.
Yeah.
So they used to work in Harlem. They did a lot of work over there years ago.
Yeah.
My grandfather told me that they were all like tough, shrewd Polish American Jews now, Yeah. And they one time got mugged at gunpoint by one of the wonderful inhabitants of
let's keep the language
Harlem.
clean, yeah.
And so they pulled a gun on him and said, "Give me your money." And he was like, "No." He's like, "I'll give you $10 and that's it." And the guy was like, also like, if I said that, this guy was like so like these people like escaped the Nazis, they're not gonna bow to some some crackhead with a gun.
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, I'm not giving you." And he's like, "I'll give you $10. That's it."
I like that.
And the guy was like,
"So we generally managed to keep these guys away, but there was one time where my friends decided to buy weed.
Oh, nice.
And they decided to buy it off them, and I was like, bad idea. These guys are going to rip you off. And they did this whole money drug swap on the train station.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget. I was like watching this going on from the cabin, and I saw them switch, and then they look down and they see it's a bag of tea. Like a big bag of tea, and they just paid a lot of money.
Right.
Like loads of like green leaves, but it's all tea. And they were like waving as the door closed. These two guys, one of them Kevin, Kevin Klipot, waving at us, literally. And I was just laughing at my friends. I was like, I told you. Anyway, talking about the I see
so before we get to it, so So all right, so just so I can, my brain still needs to fire up here. So we just finished here in Tanya talking about how the Nikra Olam Hazeh, Malay Olam Haklipos Acher, L'chein Masa Olam Hazeh, Kashem V'Ra'am, V'Harisha'im Giborim Bo, Kamo Shekasav Be'etz.
Where are you? You're going back.
So right, so we just said basically this world that we live in is filled with klipos.
Yeah. It says in another Makor is Rubu Ra. The majority of this world, Olam Hazeh, is mostly evil. It's another Makor. He didn't bring it here. He'll bring that later. Hagar is the note.
I'm saying, but is that the Baal Tanya?
Yeah, it's a note. He's giving a note in his own. That's how I understood it. He's now condensing a lot of Kabbalah and Panemius into a side note for those who are, and he'll even end off probably in the Yodei Chain, those who know Chain, which is Kabbalah. We learned with Rabbi Nachman, Chain is Kabbalah. To the Chachma, to Malchus, the idea of Chain. So we're learning that this Panemius Perish is he's just giving you an insight, because remember he's holding in all these Svarim.
Right.
He's like a Baki and Eitz Chaim and Kisari.
He's saying that even though this
and now he's coming to explain a bit of Kabbalah within the Chassidish Svarim. He's bringing us the Makoris, so that if we want to go be a Makubal and learn it properly, we can go in the real Umkus of Devarim, the depth of it. We go sit and learn the Sifrei Kabbalah, and then we could understand exactly what he means when and where he's getting it all from. It's very important that he does this. Remember, the Balatadya, Shnei Zalman Eliadi was called the Litvak. Now, he wasn't called a Litvak as a Bazayan. He was called a Litvak because, one, he was from there, but also because he was a huge Gaon in Torah, and that was usually associated with the Litvaks because they were more Lamdish. And Baruch Hashem, he was able to bring us, all the Makoris, all the Torah. He was like the Rav of Chassidus. So it says, V'soch esesferes asir elahein esesferes asir b'sochen esesferes debria b'sochen esesferes asilas b'sochen orein saborku. I like this line a lot, because it takes you upwards and it gives you a journey that everything's interconnected. And I was trying to think of a word. I know Lahavdo does, but with social media, when everything is interconnected, but there's a better word. They use a word for it. When all the platforms are connected. When you're trying to create a real social media campaign, everything interacts.
Interconnected.
There's another word. I don't know what it is.
Platform.
Yeah, but
Interplatform.
I was trying to think about it. No, there's another one. But
Interplatform.
No, now you're just joking. But in the Panemius and the Spheres, the point is Lahavdil. But these Panemius is constantly building on the next. I said this to you before. I do feel like the internet's a very superficial expression of a Panemius world that comes from a higher place. That this whole inner world, you sort of get enveloped in this world. It's a very low level of these alamas. Now you have to imagine Tzaddikim are walking around these alamas.
Right.
Like when they're learning Torah, when they go to sleep on Shabbos, they're not like sleeping and dreaming about candy floss or the New York subway or whatever. They're dreaming about Disney or whatever. They're dreaming about Svirus and Alamas and Tzaddikim and Torah and Shas, and they're going into Panemius more deeper places. Not that I know this personally, but I've understood from stories and Sipurim, and it's amazing to understand that there's this whole inner world that Tzaddikim are living in, and then you come and knock on their door, you're like outside the world, like, oh yeah, that guy. And you're like covered with your stories, and they're looking at you like from this inner place. They're not looking at you from Time Magazine kind of way of looking at people. They're looking at the inner neshama. They're looking at, and it doesn't just mean this soul. Like we have to understand, we externalize. When we say neshama, we think of some white sort of aura around us. They're looking at Torah. It's Panemius. They're seeing. The Balatani got to a level where everything became Osius. Everything became Torah.
They cracked
the code.
The matrix.
Yeah, that's it. On a real way, not these numbers. Like on Osius, Panemius.
I think of like one of the tzaddikim of the modern time. That I imagine cracked it, but in a different way. Like he was very different in regards, let's say, compared to some of the other. But someone like Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan.
He did. Yeah, for sure. I think he did.
I have this theory.
He was a neuroscience scientist. Right. So he was also a genius in the highest level, like nuclear physicist or something.
I have this crazy theory
he
that
was
I think
special person.
Is borderline apicarsis, but I feel like this is my own theory, but I feel like he was nifter very young.
Yeah,
I think
too much revelation.
I think his neshama went up to the spheres, and it just at one point it was just like
didn't come back.
It just didn't come back. He was just in basking in the
I
art.
owe my initial opening of my heart to Yiddishkeit, because I was opening myself up to spirituality, but I wasn't connecting it to Judaism. And I think between the Mesilat Yesharim, Chabad, obviously Chabad, and his Svarim, Perek Kaplan, those Svarim really pulled me in more than any other. They were so, especially Jewish meditation.
Yeah.
That book, I found it I was walking around Camden. I was into grunge and skateboard scene and running nightclubs. I was like in a different world, and I walk into one of these self-help shops and I see on the shelf Jewish. I was like, Jewish meditation? Nah, it can't be. There's no spirituality in Judaism. I need to go I was like learning in that time like Buddhism or anything else.
Right.
And I picked it up. I said, can't be. I'm gonna read this and find out. No way. And it changed my life. I was like, this is real. His book about meditating on Rabbanu Shalom and the fire and the flame and the fact he has such a background in science, so you feel his intelligence. So it's not like some guy just talking woo woo,
Right.
Some of these Jewish new age gurus, he's really holding in everything.
Yeah, he was next level.
Yeah. So it definitely changed my life.
I heard this amazing story about him that he one time was coming to give a shiur. I think it was in the Lower East Side or something.
He was connected to Torah B'das, I think, as well.
Yeah, and I guess he showed up. It was raining, and not a lot of people showed up, and so I think he was like trying to figure out what to learn. I don't know the context of the story exactly. So he decided, he goes, guys, you know what? I'm going to give you a shiur on how to say Shema properly. Huh. And one of the people who were at the shiur said that their kalim were blown into pieces. Huh. He had them sit, and he taught them how to say Shema
the way
you're supposed to experience the echad, to experience the Shem Havaya.
Look at all the kavanas in the Shulchan Aruch.
Right.
If you really medaik in Shulchan Aruch, it's a lot of thinking.
Right.
It shouldn't take half a second and then you're already in Shema Esrei.
Right.
It's you have to be most nefesh yourself. We spoke about this yesterday. You have to be up to Mesiras Nefesh. Thank God today's a nicer day in every way. I feel like a lot of judgments just going away, Be'ez Hashem. It's not just in the weather, just the whole energy coming to Adam. But the idea that you have to focus on Mesiras Nefesh, but you have to also focus on the idea of Hashem Echad, of the oneness of Hashem, and you have to also focus on basically the Perish Amilis, Shema, and then all the stories, all the midrashim, everything that goes around the Shema. The Shiftei Kah said this, and Yaakov said Baruch Shem Kavod. You have to start bringing together all the different svarim. There's so much pnimis going on. The Ol Malchus Shemaim. One of the things we didn't mention, which I think we should, is Rabbi Nachman talks about this idea of Esmach Od. You have to rejoice in the Od, the Odi. This Od is when we mention this whole idea of the Baal Shem Tov, and you have Hashem Acher or Hashem Echad. What's the nafkamina? A little bit of ink. Once again, that little yud, that little bit of ink. That ink makes a difference, makes a resh into a dalid. And what's that difference between the Od and the Acher, the Echad or the Acher? That little ink chain makes a Shem Echad, one, or Acher. So Smach Od means to rejoice in that little bit of ink, a little bit of good, a little bit of godliness within us.
Right.
That is the koyach to bring Hashem Echad into everything. And that, it's just kavanas a person can have when he's saying every day, Shema Echad is Osius Esmach Od, or rejoice with the Od.
Right.
That little bit of good, and that would be the nafkamina between serving Hashem and not serving Hashem. Because I'm going to be samech and what Hashem. Because nothing's perfect. I mean, you come visit my house, please God, for Shabbos. You'll see, I don't live in a perfect house. Right. I don't even like my house, But it's still a house, and it's still a place, and there's still godliness to be found there. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist. I know it doesn't sound very welcoming, but it is. There's godliness there, and therefore we have to tune into that. While we're in a place, there's what to do in that place.
Right.
And there's tikkunim, like you could have chosen anywhere in Eretz Yisrael to live when you moved here. You knew different places, but you chose here. So you're meant to be here, and then that you have to be sameach with that od, that godliness that you find in that place. And that same with your kids, same with your wife, same with everything. Everything is about tuning into godliness. And you see, by learning this Torah, it opens up how there's godliness on every level, even on the lowest level, even when it's mubu ra. The majority of this world is bad, but there's still godliness in this world because it wouldn't exist otherwise. And then our job is to bring out that godliness even in that place. That's part of our shlichus. V'nimsa or ein sof baruch hu ma'alei kol haaretz halazo tachtona. Then the Ein Sof pervades the entire lowest world by being clothed in the 10 spheres, aydeis bashis be'eser spheres the arba lamis. Atzilas Bria Yisira Asir. So the Ein Sof pervades the lowest one by being clothed in the 10 spheres of the 4 worlds. And then it goes through those there. So the Ein Sof is, even that Ein Sof, and we're not going to learn Kabbalah, but the Ein Sof is, but the little bit he's referencing, obviously there's, we don't understand exactly. There's different even worlds above these worlds, whatever that means. Ak, Adam Kadmon, and other stuff. I don't know the stuff, but I'm just telling, there's a little bit when I sat by Morgenstern or other people who know these Svarim. There's a few Svarim I had discussed to learn a little bit, but you see over there, Ein Sof is there's higher worlds above these 4 worlds. But with Chassidus, we generally stick with the 4 worlds of it. Chassidus, Bria, Yitzir, Asir, and a good book to go to would be Eric Kaplan. If you really understand, he actually goes through these 4 worlds. Yeah, he has
Which
a book on it. I think it's a whole explanation of the Nevuah of Yecheskel. I haven't read it for years.
That's my next book.
Yeah, it's geschmack. I mean, I haven't looked at it for years, so I mean, it'd probably be nice to look at it now after the fact. I don't know if they even have it here because it's quite deep. Yeah, because he's writing in English, like explaining the Makava. You're not really meant to do that.
Yeah, the
Makava. But I don't remember what the name of the book is, but I remember a long time ago.
I've read a bunch
and it's
of
very
books.
meditative.
Love it.
Theme.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, we'll get that one day. Sham Mem Zayin Perek Beis Sefer Gugulim Perek Chaf. This is one of the things, by the way, we have to look forward to in life. But as you get older and hopefully a little bit wiser and more grounded in Torah and not in other stuff, more grounded in Ruchnius, you can start going on these Tiolim a little bit. Maybe you have to be humble and be real. You're probably not really, going on these Tiolim according to your level. But yeah, you go start experiencing the Pnimis Torah a little bit. And Pnimis Torah is the Geschmackest thing. It's more powerful, more Geschmack than everything. If the world would know the pleasure of Pnimis Torah, like learning Firtogs, learning it before Shabbos, Shacharis, on a Shabbos day, I was there by Rashi Maya, the Shabbos, that Hachana for Tefillah, being in his base midrash, looking at him with all his Sfarim in front of him, the Shabbos.
Oh, he gets a shir here?
No. He comes. I got up like 4 or 5 or whatever it was in the morning, and then the Berlanders were outside my window already rolling already for Nate's. I ended up Shuva Bottom, and then because we were staying right there. Not that I'm connected with them, I just happened to be staying right there.
Yeah.
And then I could see through the windows, and then they're already up early hours, and the women as well. They're all like ready to rock. And then I go off and go in the mikveh to Shinsky's lovely. And then I went to my Rebbe's shul. There was hardly anyone there except for 1 or 2 Yidden. So I was like, I'm going to go to a full basement. I went to Rav Maya, and it was packed with people learning before davening at 6 in the morning on Shabbos day.
Wow!
And it was geschmack. Like there was an awe there. I was learning what we were talking about, Rav Shulchan Aruch and Hilchos Talmud Torah, and I learned some Shas as well, Baruch Hashem. But I didn't learn like Pnimis that time in the morning. But imagine now you've done all the Niglas Torah that you obligated. You've done your Daf Yomi or whatever it is. Yeah. Now you have that time in the morning, Shabbos day, just to learn Pnimis with some tzaddik. So sitting in that kind of avir, there's no bigger pleasure. It's Gan Eden. It's Gan Eden. It's literally tasting, and it's something which Rav Simai used to always bring it as a mashal that, and it's important to get this. The Klausenberger Rebbe used to say that a non-Jew doesn't even understand the pleasure of when I eat my gefilte fish Shabbos. Yeah, he will never get to that pleasure. Kol Shekain, the learning early in the morning Shabbos Boker. He said the pleasure of it would make a non-Jew into a Jew. It would make him want to convert if he would taste it. Yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah, so there's a tremendous tanug in learning Pnimis Torah, and we're not here just for the pleasure. We're here to serve Hashem, but it's just good to know that there is that light out there available for Am Yisrael if we just choose it.
Kevin Klipot, if you're listening, you should give it a try.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to say next. However, the Klipas, back into Tanya, are divided into 2 categories, one lower than the other. So they're not going up all these worlds, yeah. Even though they're sourced, if you shorish everything, it goes back through some sumim. But the Rebbe notes, in the case of one who's neutrally or neither for the sake of heaven, not to indulge the animal soul, but merely to degrade the animal soul. It would appear that conscious, he says, neutrally coarsens one at least to the point of leading oneself to self-indulgence. It's still written, telling you that one's animal soul gains strength by exercise through eating and drinking. No proof to the contrary with dress and expression are no better that the animal self. For it's quite possible that the words no better indicate merely that all belong to the same category like the animal soul. So such acts the realm of Klipa, Noga, holiness, and Kitsuri, Tanya, the Semach Tzedek, apparently takes these words in the same vein. Okay, so we're going to see there's going to be these 2 Klipas. Okay? I'm going to learn this. And what are these two levels? Let's go. Hamedrega tachtona he shlosh klipas tumeis v'ras legamrei ein mehem tov klau. So there's these three unclean klipas, which they probably unfortunately where this guy's hanging out. They contain no good whatever. Yeah, those guys. Yeah, you're talking about them. Yeah, I mean it's hard to say there's someone like who's so low. Yeah, it's hard to say that someone's totally from this. I mean, I wouldn't want to say it, but unfortunately, it's one of the only ways you can explain some of these TikTok videos that they come from the Gimel Klippus to Meis.
Yeah,
they're so.
Nice, when we think about like you're right, the Shari Tumah in the world.
Nun Shari Tumah, yeah.
The
50th
the more
gate.
recent year, like TikTok helped opened up that recent gate of the
It's mamish like it's like
Begala. It's like
full
Tumah and it's in the most like stuyot way.
Yeah, because it's Letzonis. The
Tumah of like
the Nun Shari Tumah is connected to Letzonis. It
like,
makes
I think
late Letzonis. It's a joke of everything. It's so ridiculous.
Is like Tumah of like just the brain.
Why do you think the comedians are having such a big revival?
Right,
because their job in a good way was to make fun of all this. Letzonis to Avodah Zarah, but to become part of it is a mistake.
In many ways, comedians are from the R.
They're making fun of this shtiya.
Right.
Hopefully. And not becoming it. Oh, sorry, missed the line. It says in the Makavi Yecheskel that there's a divine chant which he saw and described, the godliness described as a storm wind, a great cloud, a flaring fire. So these three Lashonis, Ruach, Zara, Va'an, and Godel, these are the three Klippos Tameis. Wow. He's bringing it in, which is telling us where did he come up with this. It's not like Balatanya made it up. Yeah,
right.
He got it from probably from Kabbalah time, but it's also from the Novi, from Tanakh, from Yecheskel's vision of the Makava, that there was three Lashonas, storm wind, a great cloud, and flaring fire. These are the three unholy Klippos Tameis. From them flow and derive the soul of all the nations of the world, sustaining force of their bodies, which sustain exist apart from the soul which animates them. Yeah, so he does make a chiluk. They have a soul that animates them, that's not part of that, but it's probably a high level. I mean, I hope. Yeah, it is. It's a high level. Right. But they, unfortunately, their bodies and the way they're living is coming from these low things like
overt good at all.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Chaim Miller adds the word overt here.
Yeah.
No overt good at all. And then he also adds the word of all the wicked nations of the world.
So he makes a chiluk.
I mean, I don't know where he's sourcing those two big words there.
Here he says all the nations. He doesn't make a chiluk.
Yeah, here, I think it's
more PC.
Here is a little PC. I should really write him a letter and be like, what is your source of the overt good?
Otherwise he'll get fired from his job.
Right, otherwise they'll burn
I can't accuse him of that. Mr. Shami saying that MS, just according
I'm just curious.
His learning, he came out with an understanding that gives it more room for the modern mind to comprehend. I don't know. It's not my job to justify
not all
it.
The nations of the world are 100%.
Yeah,
because according to this,
there is probably more nuance than just saying they're all from Klipos to Meis.
Right.
It does sound so good, and look, you can prove it. There's people like what's his name? He saved us from the Shoah. What's his name? The famous movie.
Schindler's List.
Schindler and these dudes.
The Argentinian president.
Oh, him. Yeah, he can't be from the Gimel. There's no way. He's like come out a Jew already. That guy. Yeah. He's like
firmer than most Jews.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that, but he's totally like on board, like as the Jewish outlook. Like he's brought his rabbi with him. He's legit.
I think someone I've heard this before, that the people like that though, their neshamas are part of the neshamas of, when they left, like the Gerim.
The sparks of the
Asaph.
Yeah, but maybe Basaf he will become a Yid. But the main point is, like even with Trump as well, as much as people, I was watching 90 greatest hits of Trump. It's like comedy hour. Yeah,
right. Oh, he's amazing.
Proper funny man. But at the same time, like he's there's something about him that makes me think he's got some Jewish nitzos. Like the fact he ends up with Jewish children, it's certain humor, certain way of looking at things that just reminds me of certain Jewish ways of viewing things, like making fun of things like that need to be made fun of.
I feel like he's a Gilgal of Achashverosh.
Yeah, probably.
That's my theory.
It's hard to figure him out. Anyway.
No, it's a good call. He's like a Gilgal of Achashverosh.
Well, he married Esther and came out Darovish. She was a Yid.
Because he married, right. He and so the same thing. His grandchildren are Jewish.
Yeah.
And he's mamish like a Russia, but at the same time, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's hard to work all this stuff out.
Yeah.
Nefesh is called Balachayim. You're holding it right. Nefesh is called Balachayim Tameim. The nefashas come from all the Balachayim Tameim, Basurim Bachila. So their souls. This is not PC at all. Of all living creatures that are unclean, forbidden to be eaten, and so the sustaining force, Vakiyim Vagufam, of all their bodies. So there's two energy forces, and we're saying that over here. The first one is a very low level. It's based on the Cheskel, and it's based on the fact that the Chias is coming from the Klipot Tameis, from the Balachayim Tameim, from all the low things. And they eat all this stuff. They're into the PIG and they're into the the seafood, and nowadays they're eating bugs. Kiyum Chayes Kol Macholis Asuris Ma Someach, and the existence and life was all forbidden vegetation. Such as they don't have all the chiyuvim like we have. We can't eat ola. We can't make klai karim. They're happy to mix up things, in the farmland. They don't have all these asurim, so they go eat it. The simcha, the fruit, first year of fruit, they'll just go take it off the tree and eat it. There's no issue for them. Maybe our farmland wisdom, it's probably better not to touch the tree straight away and let it get strong first before you start taking all its fruits. So maybe the farmland world gives some instruction, but it's generally they'll just eat it because there's no reason why not. They don't have any issur. So they're not obligated not to eat it. So then you have to. It's always something I have to remind myself when I'm like in my little Torah bubble. When you go back into the world, remember these people don't have. You see them just eating food. They're not making a blessing. They're not. Why should they?
Right.
They're not in that avoda. They should maybe show a bit of mindfulness and appreciation, and the food didn't just come from nowhere. But they don't have a chiyuv to make a blessing. Yeah.
Right.
Then instead of a yarmulke on the head, start making a baruch atah. You're sitting in Starbucks in New York. You don't see anyone making a blessing.
Right.
Except for the yidler that walks in.
Starbucks.
Yeah, Starbucks.
So these three klipas.
Yeah.
So these three klipas, right? We said there's three completely impure klipas.
Yeah.
Right, that have no good at all. Ein behem klal tov. Ein behem tov klal.
Yeah.
V'nichim markavis yechesko. Ruach sa'aranan.
Yeah, these three lashonis.
Umehem nishpos. Right, so those klipas. One is the wicked people of the world, or just the people of the world. The second one is the unclean animal. The souls. But nefashos kol balei chayim atameim v'asurim v'achila v'kiyum gufa, just like the PIG and the SKUNK.
Yeah.
People eat that too, I'm sure. Kiyum v'chayos kol ma'achalos asuros mehatzomeach. And that's an interesting one. That comes from the klipot of evil.
Right.
Because these are kosher foods even. It's like you're saying arla, which is we can't eat it.
By the time it's saying Ola and Klai Karim, we can't eat it, but they can. But that shows where their existence comes from forbidden things.
But he's saying that the klipa, is he saying that the klipas, these impure klipas, this is what is the life force behind the animals that they eat, the life force behind the people themselves, and the life force behind the vegetables that they're eating.
Yeah, it's all connected.
So the vegetables, it's interesting when you think about it that
there's a whole reality of klipas.
That a kosher apple that is arla, or whatever it is, I don't know all the halachas there, has in it the life force of a klipa.
Yeah, because it's bound up in a surim.
But at the same time,
when they consume it, it's no problem for them because they're not obligated not to eat it.
Right.
They don't have the mitzvah. As far as I know, Mrs. B'nai Noach doesn't obligate them to not eat ola or
no.
Maybe when Mashiach comes, all these restrictions will be elevated.
But even like Meiser, which is a mitzvah.
Yeah.
It's like this. I'm saying it just to think about it.
Part of the tikkun of the bria of fixing up creation. We have all these asurim to bring us back to the time before the Chayei and Marishan. So ultimately, everything will get back to that time, and the Zumatzon and all these asurim will be elevated. Until then, we can't eat it. They can, but it means that they're consumed in that world of klipas, and they shouldn't change that. Really, we're not asking them to change that. They have Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach. They have other things that elevate them, values that will help them live a good life, and according to God's law, they'll be good people. But they don't have to enter into this realm of Isurim that we have, these forbidden boundaries. Because what does Isur mean? It means to bound up not in a prison kind of way, in a way that the energy, the ability to elevate that object is bound. And we can't elevate it. Now, by accident, if we have eaten those things and we do tshuva, maybe through tshuva we can elevate it. But l'chachila, you can't do it. You can only do it after the fact if you made a mistake, honest, or you grew up like a goy, like I did. Yeah. So
it does feel like, I will say though, it does feel like the Arabs that are occupying our lands here. They feel like klipas to me.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to.
I feel like when we're removing them.
Maybe there's some Yechidim out there who don't look that way and act better than that. But the way they're living and acting, like someone just said a story yesterday that one of the soldiers, our friend's sons was a soldier, and he was going around the villages of Beitar. I overheard this Min Shemaim.
Of what?
He was talking to Yossi about it, one of the fathers here of one of the soldiers, and he was in the villages around Beitar, the Arab villages there, and there was kids throwing rocks at them, and they'd shoot in the air, and the kids run away. One kid carried on throwing the rocks. Yeah. So this kid wouldn't stop. So they took the kid and they said, "Look, where's your parents?" They figure out, they're going to take him back. There's something wrong with this kid. So they took him back to his parents. And when he knocked on the door, the mother came to the door and said, no, you can take him. We don't want him. Yeah. So that, a Yid would never say that.
Yeah.
I don't care what. Never say to some other, supposed army that's meant to be your enemy, take our child. Chas v'shalom. When the Jews in history say such things, maybe when we were in the worst state in history, we ate our child, because it brings but that was part of the gezerah on us. That wasn't like how we are as people. Yeah, the fact that these people could just say, klipas, attach bombs to their children, go blow yourself up. That's martyrdom. That whole false way of thinking.
Also, they're so dirty.
I don't want to sound racist, but the nakuda of that kind of lack of love and true compassion, and for your own children is something off. Like that's not correct.
Like when people call them Nazis,
that's not human.
I think it's that they're from the same. They have the same klipas of the Nazis.
It's hard to say all of them. Like it's that's where it gets complicated, because you never know. Some Jewish souls got mixed up over there. Got trapped there or whatever. Got intermarried.
Obviously, we don't mean every single one of them, but we can assume
anyone who's working for Hamas is probably that kind of guy.
Even the non-Hamas guys, I think they don't really. Like this story of this lady in the neighborhood near Beitar, like they're not Hamas, they're just...
Yeah, but maybe that son would have become Hamas after having parents like that.
They all believe in it.
They're going to become some sort of radicalized person, because if you don't have normal parents who love you, what are you going to do?
They're all jihadists.
Who becomes your parents then? So who's the most closest thing to these guys? It's not going to become some tzaddik. They're suddenly become a yid. The chances are, what's going to happen? They're going to go to these meetings, of the terrorist meetings that are probably going on all the time around there. That are
Terrorist Anonymous.
To radicalize them. And they're going to say, this is my new people. And I get acceptance. At home, I've got no acceptance.
The klipas feel they're...
Kem kiem chayas kol ma'asa dibor machshava. Shekol shasa lo taseh vanfeim k'ma shekosu sham sof perek hey. It's an existence and life of any act, utterance, or thought in violation of any one of the 365 prohibitions, as well as the benefits that are all derived from these impure klipot, as we're in end of. So basically, they're in that world of all the time being over 365 mitzvahs lo ta'aseh, and they're involved, their chiyas, their energies in that whole realm. And our job, why he's bringing this, because we obviously have these 365 mitzvahs, we have to stay away from them, from all these klipas and isurim. We're not allowed to do anything. We can't just eat treif and eat orla and eat whatever we feel like, or look at whatever we want, or speak however we want. There's rules. I'm so have a shulchan aruch, and there's a surim, and these surim will keep us away from falling into these three klipas tameis that unfortunately some of the souls of the Umas Olam are coming from. He's saying here all of them.
Hadron alach.
Hadron Perek Shishi. It's a hard Perek if you really think about the depth of it.
I've been doing a review now. Started a review with Harabbi Shais Taub.
Oh, good.
He has a very nice
Good.
One chapter per year.
Yeah, amazing.
And it's just a brief overall summary, but it's good.
Yeah, but the amazing thing about him is him.
He's just
he's just a
rock
star. Yeah, he knows how to speak and he knows how to explain things in real terms. He's dealing with the addiction world, so he's got that whole wisdom behind him, and he's incredibly well spoken and funny as well. Yeah. And also doesn't take any nonsense. Like if people ask him some
silly questions,
he knows how to deal with it.
Yeah. We have the Ami magazine at home.
Yeah, that's so good. His articles.
You also have that?
I used to get it every week and read it.
Yeah, we get it here.
I told the editor when he was the one who used to write the articles.
Yeah.
I said he's the best thing in your magazine.
Yeah.
And you need to keep him. And then at one point they stopped.
Yeah.
So I got in touch with Frankfurt. They said, "What are you doing? He's the star of your magazine."
Right.
I said he's the most insightful. I'm sorry to the Frankfurter, he writes his editorial, but it's at another level. This Rosh Hashanah. You can't discount this rabbi and lose him from your magazine. So don't worry, he's in the family section. We moved him over there. I said, but it's not the same. I don't know if you saw the women articles. It was not.
They're all women articles, yeah.
No, but it's more like emotionally based, and it doesn't have the same like breadth and insight that those ones had.
Right.
So I was pushing him for years, and now they brought him back.
Yeah, in the main one.
Yeah, I was so excited that they
did Tshuva.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for us to get it. We drive to Beitar.
He was like, should we bring this rabbi? They had a whole list of rabbis. I was like, you can.
Right.
I don't want to like take away the opportunities. Right. If you're asking
maybe you should write for them.
No. I don't get any acceptance.
Anonymous,
anyway.
Right? Klipot,
yeah, anonymous. I'd be the anonymous section. Right. Just
signed.
Say stuff that no one would say.
Kevin Klipot.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Right.
But I said to him, no, it was hard for me because it was like he's like giving me the opportunity to decide rabbi's panasa, literally. Like
right.
That rabbi is like asking my opinions if I'm a day. I don't know why he asked me, but he did.
Right.
And I went through the list of him and I said, I'm sorry to say, but none of them compare to Rosh Hashanah. I'm not going to name any.
Doing so many ads for Pesach programs.
Oh my gosh, I've written to him about that.
Yeah.
I said like, you are living like in another world. We're Israel. I said, one, you need to bring the price down.
Right.
Two, you need to just bring the standard of living that you expose.
Right.
It's just a rub in our tuchus and our
or
face
make a different,
every day.
Or make an Israeli version.
We're so far from these musagim that you're advertising.
These like meat board advertisements.
These giant press boards and hotels and apartments, your summer houses. I don't even have a house. My house is crap, and you're advertising a summer house and how you can do the decor to the highest level of the summer house.
Yeah.
Give me that summer house in my house. I'll go live there. B'simcha rabba.
Right.
Yeah, like just don't rub it in my face. My matzav. Yeah, and I used to write to this again and again. I said to the point. My last email to him was, basically, I'm not buying him magazine anymore because it's my wife's lost interest. It's too triggering for her to see the alternative lifestyles, and it's chaval because some of the stuff there is good, but and also I'll be honest. I said to him, "It'll save me money. If you don't give us any discount in Israel, like Israel discount.
Expensive. It's like 40 shekel.
So it used to be back in the day like 15 shekel. I remember when it was 15 shekel. That's how far back I was buying Ami.
It's like 40
so
shekel.
From 15 to 40, and it's not like you've improved the quality. It's a massive 30. I'm basically paying for the ads. I don't want to pay for them. Yeah. And I don't want to pay for to be triggered my wife. Yeah. So I said, if you can't, be a bit more
step up your game.
No, if you can't just be a bit more respectful for the Israeli clientele, and
change it up,
and just be pressing American lifestyle, it's just not going to get your magazine anymore. So it's a shame that I stopped buying it. But nevertheless,
all right.
Hashem blessed us with the fact that we learned 6 prochim of Tanya, which is done, and it's about getting into the Panemius more and more. And Rav Shai Tab will say himself, all those articles, all the wisdom that he quotes, it all comes from the Tanya.
Wow. Today there's a Brit Milah.
Yeah, Brit Milah. So we're davening upstairs.
Yeah, the Oranavi's coming to town.
Right. Yeah, that's our namesake.
And I have to go to Talpiot to get my car fixed.
Amazing.
Down to a small fender.
Oh yeah, you told me about that. Yeah.
And then I have to go to the dentist. I have holes in my teeth.
Oh, you want more sweets? I ate them yesterday.
Holes all over my teeth. I need to fix up. I was digging wells like Yitzchak Avinu, right?
Yeah. It should be healthy and bria, and Hashem should give us strength to elevate all the everything.